Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Ram Rama Hare Hare. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna. So, one last time for this series, I offer my obeisances to each one of you, individually and collectively, and beg for your blessings, prayers, best wishes. May the right words come at the right time in the glorification of Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam. May this attempt purify our hearts and bring us closer and closer to their eternal loving devotional service. With this desire, with this as the aim, I seek your blessings and want to be protected by your blessings and prayers. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu. So last evening, when we were on the banks of the Jamuna, by the mercy of Srila Shukadeva Goswami, we witnessed a glimpse, a peek into Krishna's beautiful dancing. Krishna danced and danced and danced and danced for hours. The Devatas were so much in ecstasy because they never see any avatar do this. They don't find Nrsingadev, they don't find Varahadev, they don't find Ramachandra, they don't find Vamandev dance. That was one of the things that attracted Lakshmi Devi to the Rasa Leela. He was so busy doing his office work of creating this world that he was busy, tired, and he would have no time to talk to her. But that same Lord has appeared as Krishna, who's singing, who's dancing, playing on the flute, and Lakshmi Devi as the greatest chaste pativrata, sativrata, the greatest epitome of chastity and loyalty, eternally lives in Belwan, Vrindavan Dham, where she's eating khichdi and performing vrat, only with the desire to enter the Rasa Krida, the Rasa Leela of Radha and Krishna. Everywhere you can see Lakshmi Devi, she is offering blessings. As Ashtalakshmi, she's always offering blessings. But in Belwan, you will see she's not offering blessings, she's begging for blessings. Because she wants entrance into Krishna's dancing pastimes. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami Pad says, Asaman urdho rupa shri vismapita characharam. He says, how beautiful is Krishna. Forget about someone being better than him. There cannot be anybody to equal him. Asamana. Samana means equal. Asamana means nobody equal, and then let alone urdhva, greater. Vismapita characharam. His beauty is so mesmerizing that he can make the moving non-moving and non-moving moving. Now when the deer which moves looks at Krishna, it just gets stunned there as paintings or painted pictures. The deer is just looking and bathing Krishna with its tears. Pranayavalokai, Bhagavatam describes the deer is a pujari who's offering Krishna so much affection, arati, just through her glancing. And what is causing that love? It's Krishna's beauty. So that's an example of moving becoming non-moving. Another example of moving becoming non-moving is Yamuna getting stunned. Seeing Krishna's beauty, listening to Krishna's flute sound. Tri Jagan Manas Akarshi. The flute sound has the power to attract the three worlds. Can you imagine double trouble? Bodily beauty now mixed with the intoxicating flute sound? That's a perfect weapon. That's a perfect weapon to stab anyone's heart. And the person surrenders without a war. My Guru Maharaj, while explaining the words Barhapidam Natavara Vapuh Karnayo Karnikaram Bibhrat Vasa Kanaka Kapisham Vaijayantim Jamala Malam. My Guru Maharaj, while explaining the word Vaijayantim Jamalam, he explained it in the context so beautifully with the respect of what we are discussing. He said Vaijayanti Mala is a special type of garland which is made out of 5 different flowers of different colors, different shapes and fragrances. That's Vaijayanti Mala. But the inner meaning, he said, Jaya means to win a battle. But Vaijaya or Vijaya means to win a battle without fighting. All incarnations, they fight. They fight a war, they wage a war and they win over the army. So it's Jayamala. But Shama Sundar in Vrindavan, he takes his weapon, no Sudarshan Chakra, flute, smile, glance, threefold bending form. How many of us have seen the hips of our Radha Gopinath in Mumbai? Ah, so beautiful. So beautiful. When he stands, you can see his hips are so beautiful. Can't even imagine. And what about his long flute? Or should I say Vrindavan Bihari? Not different. The beauty of Radha Gopinath, the beauty of Radha Vrindavan Bihari, the beauty now mixed with the flute sound, that is enough to win any battle, to collect the hearts of all the Brajbasis without any battle. So each flower in that Vaijayanti Mala is actually a heart that Krishna has collected from the chest of the Brajbasis. And he's just, Yogamaya has beautifully strung a garland, fragrant flower petal garland of all the loving sentiments of the hearts of the Brajbasis. And Krishna walks with that Vaijayanti Mala to see, to proclaim, look, I have won over the hearts of the Brajbasis without a battle. How beautiful. Sri Rupa Goswami Pada explains, with the flute sound, with the bodily beauty, with his associates, with the sweetness of his leelas, Krishna reigns, victory, complete, conquer with all his 64 qualities over everyone and anyone and everyone at all times possible. That Sri Krishna who sings all songs in the best possible ragas. When Krishna sings, the cuckoos hide. When Krishna plays the flute, the devatas watch in amazement. And they're predicting what rag that is. And Krishna on purpose starts with a rag which everyone can predict. And they're all, oh, that's Yaman. And then he puts in a note which is not in Yaman. And they say, oh, Yaman Kalyan. And then he changes another note. And the devatas are looking at one another and say, oh, that I think is Kamaj. And they're talking to one another, predicting the different ragas. And Krishna on purpose, when he plays his flute, he is looking at the devatas. And Bhagavatam describes, Vama bahukrita vama kapolo, valgita bhrur adhararpita venu. Krishna places his cheeks. He places his left cheek on his left arm. Vama bahukrita vama kapolo. And as he plays his flute, nartita bhru, valgita bhru, his eyebrows dance. We're not even coming to Krishna's dance. His eyebrows dance. When he's playing the flute, Mother Earth starts to tremble, and Krishna's in the assembly of his friends, and he's playing the flute, and he looks at his friends, and he's showing to them, look, Mother Earth is reciprocating with that little horripilation, the little tremble, the little kampan, bhukampa, earthquake. And at the same time, when the devatas are stunned, Krishna's playing his flute and looking at all his friends, pointing to them, look, the devatas in their celestial planes, they're all stunned. Krishnam niriksha vanitotsava rupashilam. Look, they're stunned. And the deer are stunned, the peacocks are stunned, the cuckoos are stunned, the cows are stunned all the time. The gopas are stunned, the gopis are stunned, so much so that it stuns himself. Krishna's beauty attracts himself. Harir drishtva goshthe mukuragatam atmanam atulam swamadhuryam radha priyatara sakhivaptum abhitah aho gaude jatah prabhurapara gauraika tanubhag shachi sunu kimme nayana sharanim yasyati punah. Sri Raghunath Das Goswami Pad writes, Krishna's beauty intoxicates Krishna to an extent that Krishna thinks, I wish I could befriend this person. I don't know who he is, but he's so beautiful, he's so handsome. Then he feels very embarrassed and shy because he realizes it's him. And he's looking at the reflection little by little, and he knows it's him. Then he feels, okay, if I get attracted to my own reflection, I can't imagine the Brajbasis, I can't imagine the Braja Gopis, I can't imagine Srimati Radharani. And I wish I could be Radha and look at my own reflection. And that was the seed of Gaura Avatar. How wonderful. If Krishna's eyebrows are so attractive, if Krishna's eyelashes are so attractive, if Krishna's waist and hips are so beautiful, if his flute sound is so mesmerizing, his cheeks are so reflective, his ears are so wonderful, his neck and his waist. Remember Three Rekhi? Bal Gopal walking. You can have 3 lines and 3 lines and 3 lines. Worshipped by the Lord of the 3 lines. That Lord who's so wonderful, his dhoti is so wonderful, his smile is so wonderful, his nose is so wonderful, his blinking is so wonderful, his sleeping is so wonderful, his eating is so wonderful. That Madhura Adhipati, the Lord of all sweetness, when he dances, can you imagine how beautiful that is? When people in this world dance, who have practiced for many decades, people pay very high tickets to get in the front seat of a concert of a very established performer. Can you imagine? God dancing? And God dancing, and it's so unpredictable because the stage is not steady. When it's steady, you know the length and breadth and the dimension. In the mind, the dancer knows how much to move, right? The dancer has to think of the dimensions of the stage and predictability. Okay, how much I can move, and the audience are here and the curtain is here, and this is how, this much space and this much width, and what kind of expression and what type of beat, etc. Can you imagine all of that is unpredictable? It's cupped, it's slippery, it's moving, and the height is changing, the emotions are changing, and the serpent goes to bite and Krishna jumps and smiles. Oh, the jingling of those ankle bells and the ringing of those bangles and the moving of those earrings and that emotion that the Brajbasis have, they are all cheering. The demigods are all celebrating Krishna's dance of divinity. And finally, when Kāliya is completely subdued, when he vomits out every possible drop of blood, poison and fire, and he becomes so humble just to serve the Lord in his pastime, Shukadev Goswami writes, Tachitra Tandava Virugna Phana Sahasro Raktam Mukhairuruvamandrapabhagna Gatraha Smritva Charachara Gurum Purusham Puranam Narayanam tamaranam manasa jagama. The adjective used for Krishna's Tandava dancing is Chitra. Chitra means astonishing, Vichitra, how amazing, how splendorous. Chitram, Chitram, Vichitra, Chitram aho, Chitram, Vichitram aho, Bilva Mangal Thakur. That Krishna, you are astonishing, astonishing, more astonishing, most astonishing. I can't tell you how astonishing. He has to say that to Krishna and he says, Chitram, Chitra, Vichitra, Chitram, aho. The word in Sanskrit is aho. But he can't even say aho, he's saying aho. Chitram, Vichitram, aho. My dear Lord, you're so astonishingly beautiful. So that Chitra Tandava, that most beautiful, graceful, sweet dancing, Virugna Phana Sahasru Raktam Mukhair Uruvaman Nripa Bhagna Gatra, that came like crashing thunderbolts, completely subduing, humbling Kāliya. And each one of those hoods, sahasra, thousands of them, Raktam Mukhair, started spitting blood and vaman. He was vomiting poison. And Bhagna Gatra, his skin was peeling, there's blood all over his body, and he had lost all hopes to fight. He was completely subdued. Dinera adhika daya kare Bhagavan, Pandita kulina dhani bada abhiman. It is described that Mahaprabhu, Sri Krishna Chandra, Sri Ramachandra, they can tolerate everything. But they can tolerate our fallen state. They can tolerate our weakness. But they cannot tolerate our pride. If there is pride because of aristocratic birth, or learning, or affluence, or beauty, or any talent, Krishna may give his plumes, his talents to us. But we must remember they are always borrowed plumes. Krishna, with one slap, he can take all of that back. One heart attack, one paralytic stroke, and we can't even move. All the things that the bells and whistles that the accolades that we have collected, that we are proud for, one paralytic stroke, one heart attack, and we'll have no coordination. What are we proud of? He gives it and he can take it anytime. It's so unpredictable. Whatever we receive today, we have received because of the prayers and blessings of those in this birth and previous births. It's possible. We may be a grandfather in some home in the past birth, or grandmother in past birth, and we may have departed, and our children may be performing last rites and shraddha and praying, wherever my father is, wherever my mother is, may he or she get the association of devotees. Those prayers are the cause for our good fortune. And that could have happened for so many lifetimes. We all need Advaita Acharyas in our life to pray for our upliftment. We are all like Navadvip. There is so much scope for spiritual advancement, but there's also so much scope for getting distracted. And there are always Advaita Acharya Prabhus in disguise in this world, praying for our upliftment. Those in past life, those in present life. There may be people who have caught us by the hand, prayed for us, got us to a Bhakti Vriksha, given us our first Bhagavatam, given us our beads, given us a little packet of cookie, invited us to the, or should I say goodness cookie. The Seattle devotees know it. Or a little card, a visiting card to the Sunday Feast program. Those are the ones who are praying, wishing well for us. Or sometimes we may have walked through devotees in our past life, and they are chanting and trying to give Bhagavad Gita to us, and we may be like, these people have no other job, no other business. They waste their time and waste our time. We may have thought like that. And today, in this life, we may have the fortune to swap roles and stand on the street and offer books and cookies in the holy name. How did that transformation take place? No credit to us, please. There have been people crying, sweating, toiling for us. The worst thing we can do is appear in Navadvip and discredit Advaita Acharya. That's the most ungrateful thing to do. To be born on the banks of Ganga and not like Advaita Acharya. You can chant the name of Gauranga all your life and you will not get any mercy. Because Kritagnyata, gratitude, is the ladder to get Krishna's mercy. The one who gets Krishna's mercy is grateful, and the one who's grateful gets more mercy. Like how Prabhu was explaining, chanting leads to humility, and more humility leads to more chanting. Mahaprabhu feels overjoyed when someone is practicing humility and gratitude. We don't have to be scholars. We don't have to know shlokas. We don't have to be kirtankars. We don't have to be temple presidents. We don't have to be achievers. Well, if that's our service, we do that with as much responsibility, as much integrity, as much accountability and transparency as possible. But those positions are not the prerequisites to get Krishna's mercy. One may not know anything, but one may humbly, menially just string garlands for Krishna. And that service will take us back home, back to Godhead. Nobody may know about it. We may not have any YouTube channel. We may not have any Instagram reels promoting how good we are. You don't have to do these things. There is no need to promote what I'm doing to others. At the end of the day, I'm reminded of Mother Teresa's quote. Be kind anyway. Even if they're not kind to you, be kind to them anyway. Even if they don't like you, you be nice to them anyway. Because at the end of life, it's between you and God. It was never between you and them. We could be living in a small room. We could be in an obscure place. Our sincerity matters. Our gratitude matters. Our humility matters. When that is missing and everything else is being decorated, Krishna doesn't shower mercy. Apranasyeva dehasya mandanam lokaranjanam. You could have the best possible earrings, you could have the best possible ankle bells, you could have the best possible bangles, but if there is no soul in the body, what is the use? The soul in the body is humility, gratitude, forgiveness, tolerance, ready to offer respect to everyone, seeing the spark in everyone and trying to fan that and bring them closer to Krishna. I can't forget how Prabhu, in the first session of Rasa-Cintāmaṇi this year, how wonderfully he said, and all of you will definitely resonate to this, when he said, Krishna is here and we are here. Right? Remember? And it's not like this. And it's not only like this. We come together as we go close to Krishna. Right? That is the point. As a community, as an individual, as a family, how can we put our differences aside? Of course, there will be so many reasons. Krishna will always give those black marbles. Devotion doesn't mean foolishness. Devotion doesn't mean surrendering our intelligence. We have to surrender with our intelligence, not surrender our intelligence. Devotion doesn't mean blind faith. Yes, there are concerns, but that doesn't make the person bad. There are concerns in everyone. Who can claim here to be a saint? There are saints here, no doubt. But how many of us can actually say, I'm only saint and nothing else? That's quite audacious to say. So we all have those black marbles inside us. We have to see if there are concerns and try to fix it for us and for others in a community. But that doesn't discredit the white marbles the other person has. Bringing them closer with those white marbles so that those black marbles are left behind is our aim. When Kāliya had this personality change of understanding that it's all me and only those who surrender to my will can stay here and everyone else get lost. He went from there to being subdued and crushed completely, knowing that at the end of it all, my will doesn't work. We all are Kāliyas, and Krishna as time factor dances on our heads at all times. We lose our teeth. We lose our hair. Or if we have our hair, it starts to turn gray. We have back problem, knee problem, immigration problem. I had to add something. Financial problems. What are we proud of? Today everything is right, but what's the guarantee tomorrow it's going to be the same? We have so many uncertain balls juggling in our life. Our health, our spouse health, our children's health, our parents' health, job, neighbors, car, whatnot. Everything is just juggling. Services, relation with devotees. Whatever good we have received, we don't deserve it. Krishna, you are Krishna bada dayamay kori bare jibhaja. He is merciful. Let's not take his soft heart for granted and think that we deserve and claim proprietorship over things that he melted of sheer mercy. When Kāliya had this change going from pride to prayer, from pride to utter humility, Krishna showered so much more mercy. This is the backbone lesson of this whole pastime. Subduing the Kāliya within. And we all have thousands and thousands of hoods. We have had heads for thousands of lives. We have as many hoods as Kāliya had, maybe even more. And each one of those heads have been rising so high in so many lives, spitting poison at others, polluting the Yamuna of our consciousness. The soul has been going from one body to another. But the false ego, the Kāliya, the mind, the polluted mind, with all its 1,000 hoods, has been hissing, has been poisoning, has been fuming with anarthas, spoiling the Yamuna of our consciousness. And there have been Advaita Acharya like Nagapatnis in our life, praying for our upliftment one life after another. There have been people who have seen good in us and felt, Krishna, only if he could be a devotee. We never know. Just like some of us may feel in our family, if you just analyze in our family, in the members, the family, there are people who are very good human beings, right? Sometimes you feel they're better than us. How many of us have felt that? Sometimes you see mama, chacha, nani, dadi, whatever, all our relatives. We see they're such good human beings. But the only thing, if they could just have some love for Radha and Krishna, if they could have some devotional sentiments, oh, that's like adding more sweetness to the sweet rice. And we have been in that situation in so many lives. And people have thought like that about us. This person is a nice person, genuine human being. But Krishna, only if he could have devotion. And the combined prayers of all those members in all those past lives have manifested in the good fortune that we have today. We can take credit. We can take a yes for anything that we have. When Srila Prabhupada was asked, what did we do, Srila Prabhupada? What was our credit? Prabhupada said, you had no qualification. Very humble, yet very honest. You had no qualification. I made your qualification. Srila Prabhupada was the Advaita Acharya to millions of Navadviparts. Srila Prabhupada was a powerful Nagapatni for millions of Kāliyas like us, who are all swimming in the waters of this world, hissing our own sense gratificatory temporary desires. And it is described when Kāliya was completely subdued and he was surrendering with so much humility. Sri Bilvamangal Thakur writes, Kalinda janta sthita Kāliyasya Phanagrarange natana priyantam Tatpuchhastam sharadindu vaktram Balam mukundam manasa smarami. Let's sing this together. Kalinda janta sthita Kāliyasya Phanagrarange natana priyantam Tatpuchhastam sharadindu vaktram Balam mukundam. Sri Bilvamangal Thakur writes, Kalinda ja is Yamuna Devi. Antasthita Kāliyasya. Kāliya lived in the womb of Yamuna, deep within. Krishna had the mercy to dive deep and pick him from there. And not just picking up from there, forgive him for all his offenses and use him in his personal service. How merciful. How did Krishna use? Phana agra range, on the stage, on the top of the hoods. Natana priyantam. Krishna danced so beautifully. How did he dance? Tat puchha hastam. Krishna held the tail of Kāliya with his lotus palms and he looked at the Brajbasis with a smiling face. Sharadindu vaktram. The autumn moon-like face of Gopal was shining with the moonbeams of his smile as he held the tail of Kāliya dancing on the stage of the hoods. To that Gopal, to that Mukunda, Balam Mukundam Manasa Smarami, he says, I remember that Krishna who is dancing on the hoods of Kāliya, out of his mercy that he gave Kāliya on the power of the prayers of the Nagapatnis. The Nagapatnis prayed, and Kāliya got the fortune which nobody got. Rukmini Devi, while writing the letter to Krishna, she says, Yasyangri pankaja rajas napanam mahanto vanchanti vapati vatma tamopa hatyai. Rukmini, in the last verse of her prayer, she says, Krishna, Yasya angri pankaja rajas napanam mahanto. The dust of your lotus feet, Rukmini Devi says, is so rare that great personalities like Lord Shiva smear their body with the dust of your lotus feet. So Lord Shiva is not smearing bhasma from a crematorium. Lord Shiva is smearing his body with the dust of Vrindavan Dham. Because that is the foot dust of Gopal. Kunti Devi, Totpadai Rankita Bhati. Kunti Devi says, Krishna, now if you leave us, what will happen to all of us? Our place, our home, our palace, our kingdom, our lives has become auspicious by the imprints of your lotus feet. Now if you take them away, what will happen to us? So Rukmini Devi is glorifying Krishna's lotus feet. Kunti Devi is glorifying Krishna's lotus feet. Shivananda Sen, he gets kicked on his chest by Nityananda Prabhu. That pastime our Gauranga Darshan Prabhu will explain next Rasa-Cintāmaṇi. When Shivananda Sen Prabhu was kicked on the chest by Nityananda Prabhu, he considered that to be the greatest benediction in his life. I got the kick of the Supreme Lord. I am his sidekick. I got kicked by the sole of the lotus feet of my master. Shivananda Sen is so great. His son became the great Kavi Karnapur. And how did he become Kavi Karnapur? He was Puridas. He in his childhood went and sucked the lotus toe of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And all the mercy, the sweetness, the poetry, the devotion dipped from Mahaprabhu's lotus feet into the mouth of Kavi Karnapur, and he was like, and now that was flowing through his fingertips in the form of his poetry. Can you imagine the power of Nityananda Prabhu's kick and Mahaprabhu's lotus feet? That which is so rare that the gopis aspire for in their lives. Kunti Devi aspires for, Rukmini Devi aspires for, Shivananda Sen aspires for. That Krishna is going and freely distributing to every hood of Kāliya. Kāliya didn't ask for it. He didn't want it, he didn't desire, nor did he deserve. That's Krishna's mercy. Sri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Pad has brilliantly gifted us this verse describing the effect of meditating on Krishna's lotus feet. So yesterday we heard of the different signs and symbols on Krishna's lotus feet. This verse gives us the benefit of remembering those signs and symbols. Shri Krishnangri Yugam Sakrit Shruti Gatam Sarvanya Trishnaharam Dhyatam Yadvipadam Vilopanipunam Satsampadam Dayakam Drishtam Charutaya Chamatkriti Padam Sarvendriyalhadakam Sprishtam Yat Klamahantri Nivritikaram Tanme Kriyat Kangshitam. What does Akanksha mean? Desire. Kangshitam. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Pad speaks to Krishna in this poetic verse and he says, my dear Lord, I only, tanme kriyat kangshitam, I only desire one thing in my life, the imprint of your lotus feet in my mind. I don't want anything else. So it's almost like Krishna's asking Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, what do you think is the glory of my lotus feet? Because when I as Bal Gopal, Vatapatra Shai, as our Prabhu was explaining beautifully, when as Bal Gopal, Krishna took his own lotus palms, he touched his lotus feet and put the lotus feet into his lotus mouth and he tried to taste. Kararavinde napadarvindam mukharavinde viniveshayantam Vatasya patrasya puteshayanam balam mukundam manasa smarami. He Krishna, he Yadava, he Sakheti, Govinda Damodar Madhaveti, Jivhe Pibasva Amritameta Govinda Damodar Madhaveti. Sri Bilva Mangal Thakur's gift to this world. He says Krishna with his lotus palm touches his lotus feet and pushes his lotus feet into his lotus mouth and tries to taste. And he says devotees are always saying, nectar of my lotus feet, sweetness of my lotus feet. And Krishna, who loves sweetness, he's trying to suck his own lotus feet. And he's saying there is no sweetness. There's more sweetness in Makhan Misri than my own lotus feet. And the Acharyas say, Krishna, the lotus petals cannot taste the nectar in the whirl of that same lotus. For that, you have to become a bumblebee. You have to become us. And then come into the lotus of your own personality and taste the nectar of the eternal service of the whirl of that lotus. So Krishna is asking Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, I tried to taste, but I didn't taste anything. You as the bumblebee, Bringadipa, you are the king of bumblebees. Now you please tell me, what is the glory of my lotus feet? And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Pad says, Shri Krishna Angri Yugam Sakrit Shruti Gatam Sarva Anya Trishnaharam. Krishnangri Yugam, the two lotus feet of Krishna, Sakrit Shruti Gatam. Once you hear about them, Sarva Anya Trishnaharam, first effect is all material desires will go out of the window. We will only want that lotus feet of Krishna in our lives. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has said, my dear Lord, when will that day be mine where I can touch your lotus feet? I can massage your lotus feet. I can even smell your lotus feet. And if possible, even kiss your lotus feet. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has written such rasic things. That Krishna, your lotus feet are so soft. Can you imagine Bal Gopal in the cradle? And he's moving his legs. Because the cradle, the bed is so soft, you don't, as the mothers, you don't even have to put your hand under the heel of the child who's moving his feet. Gopal's feet is so soft. Chakravarti Pad says, my dear Lord, when will that day be mine when I can see, smell, taste, feel, and even hear the jingling of the ankle bells of your feet? So, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Pad says, Shri Krishna Angri Yugam Sakrit Shruti Gatam. Once you hear about Krishna's feet, Sarva Anyat Trishna Haram, all material desires are gone. First. Second, now what if you remember those lotus feet? Dhyatam yad vipadam vilopa nipunam sat sampadam dayakam. All reversals, calamities in life will go away and all spiritual good fortune will rise. Second effect. So if you hear about Krishna's feet, what will happen? All material desires will go away. That is correct. Second, and when you remember those lotus feet, dhyatam yad vipadam vilopa nipunam, all calamities will go away if you remember. Just by remembering Krishna's lotus feet. Yes maret pundari kaksham sabaiha bhyantara shuchi. Like Prabhu was explaining, kathanchana smrte yasmin dushkaram sukharam bhavet. By remembering the lotus feet, all vipadam, calamities, vilopa nipunam, they run out of the window. And satsampadam dayakam, the sun of fortune will come in our life. Just by remembering the lotus feet of Radharaman Lal ki. Third, now what if you see those lotus feet? If you're a fortunate pujari and you go on the altar and you can see the lotus feet of Radha Golokananda. How many pujaris here? How many devotees here? How many of us have seen pictures of Radha Golokananda? Just drishtam, by seeing the deities, charu taya chamatkriti padam, one feels amazed. Has that happened to you when you stand in front of any deity in this world? Maybe a specific deity of your heart's desire and you stand in front of them. Just their features, their posture, the backdrop, the ornaments, the clothing, everything so beautiful. Charutaya chamatkriti padam, it makes you feel astonished. And sarva indriya aladakam, all your senses feel nourished after that darshan. And finally, if you're a pujari, sprishtam, if you get chance to touch the deity, then what happens? Yat klama hantri nirvriti karam, transcendental ecstasy will rise in the heart very soon. Kaviraj Goswami Pad says that those two lotus feet are my only aspiration. Can you believe that these lotus feet, when seen, when heard about, when meditated, when touched, those are the lotus feet that Krishna stamped on the hoods of Kāliya. He became eternal. He became immortalized. He immobilized Krishna and Krishna immortalized him. Wow. How hope-giving is this pastime? We could be Putana, we could be Aghasur, we could be Kāliya. But Krishna loves us so much. Only if our tongues can become Kāliya hoods and have the name of Krishna dance on the top continuously, stamping each tongue hood millions of times, then that tongue will be the cause of all good fortune. Seeing this astonishment, the Nagapatni say, Kasya anubhavosya nadeva vidmahe tavangri renu sparashadhikara. Oh Krishna, we are astonished. How did this Kala, this wicked person, get the fortune of being touched by the dust of your lotus feet? Why is Giriraj Govardhan so special? Yad Rama Krishna charana sparasha pramodaha. Giriraj is special because Krishna went to him and stamped his lotus feet on Giriraj. Kāliya had that same fortune. Krishna went to him and stamped. One hood after another. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Pad writes, Krishna's feet are so rejuvenating, cold and relaxing. They are the shade for the whole world. So much so that he writes the mystery behind why the sole of Krishna's feet is red. Kaviraj Goswami Pad writes that Surya Dev, who is Surya Dev? The sun god, yes. Surya Dev has a chariot driver and his name is Aruna. Very nice. So before the sun rises, you see that the whole sky gets painted red. And in Sanskrit, the word Aruna means red. So he's considered to be the chariot driver for Surya Dev, which means before the sun comes, the charioteer comes and makes everything red. So he's reddish. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Pad writes, he's the chariot driver for Surya Dev, and Surya Dev is blazing hot. So imagine if you were the chariot driver for Surya Dev, the back will peel. Imagine what happened to Durvasa Muni when the Sudarshan Chakra was chasing him. He was running and the Sudarshan Chakra was chasing him, and Durvasa Muni's speed reduced and the Sudarshan Chakra came close, and that was causing more speed because his skin was peeling by the effect of the Sudarshan Chakra. Imagine being Aruna. Your only duty from sunrise to sunset in whichever country you go to is to be the chariot driver for Surya Dev. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Pad writes, Aruna, the reddish chariot driver for Surya Dev, was scorched by the heat of Surya Dev, and he came to Krishna, and knowing that Krishna's feet are so cold and relaxing, he took shelter of the soul, and that's how the soul became red. How amazing. How amazing. And those lotus feet were stamped. And Kāliya's wives are saying in their prayers, my dear Lord, how did this even happen? How did this even happen? Because they are devotees, they are so humble. They are the cause of his good fortune. They didn't say, we know. Bhaktai Bhakta Jana Priya. He got mercy because he's our husband. They didn't think like that. They didn't think themselves to be devotees. They were thinking, Krishna, what caused this good fortune? The fortune of Giriraj, the fortune of Shivananda Sen, the fortune of Bali Maharaj, the fortune of Ahalya, the fortune of Kevat. All of these examples that we saw, 1,000,000 times multiplied on the head of Kāliya. The Nagapatnis pray this. In their prayer, they teach us 4 things. 1, and this is how we should pray too. 4 ingredients of a proper prayer. And we will find this common in all the prayers of Srimad Bhagavatam. 1, to glorify the position of God. 2, to humbly express our meek fallen position. 3, to offer repeated obeisances and beg forgiveness for our offenses. And 4th, express our desire to be reinstated in eternal loving service. Let's repeat that. First, to express the glorification of the Lord, the position of Krishna. Second, to humbly present our fallen state. Third, to offer repeated obeisances and beg forgiveness for our offenses. And 4th, truly beg to be reinstated in eternal loving devotional service at their lotus feet. The Nagapatnis do all 4 of that. There are 20 verses and we wouldn't have time to cover them, but taking shelter of their mood, can we all together, one slide after another, offer all those prayers that the Nagapatnis offered to Krishna? With that, we will conclude today's session, taking shelter of the mood, the compassion, the prayerful, humble heart of the Nagapatnis. So let us chant. This goes from Canto 10, Chapter 16, Text 33 onwards for about 20 verses. Can we do this together? नागपत्न्य ऊचुः न्यायो हि दण्डा कृतकिल्बिषेऽस्मिन् तवावतार खलनिग्रहाय रिपोऽसुतानामपि तुल्यदृष्टि धत्सेदमं फलमेवानुशंसन् अनुग्रहोऽयं भवता कृतोऽन्यो दण्डो सतां ते खलु कल्मषापः यद्दन्दशूकत्वममुष्य देहिना क्रोधोऽपि तेनोग्रह एव सम्मतः सुतप्तं किमनेन पूर्वं निरस्तमानेन च मानदेन धर्मोऽथवा सर्वजनानुकम्पया यतो भवान् तुष्यति सर्वजीव तवाङ्घ्रिरेणुस्पर्शाधिकार यद्वाञ्छया श्रीललनाचरत्तपो विहाय कामान् सुचिरम् न नाकपृष्ठं न च न पारमेष्ट्यं न रसाधिपत्यं न योगसिद्धिरपुनर्भवं वा वाञ्छन्ति यत्पादरज प्रपन्ना तदेशनाथापदुरापमन्यैस्तमोजनिक्रोधवशोऽप्यहीष संसारचक्रे भ्रमत शरीरिणो यदिच्छत स्याद्विभव समक्षा नमस्तुभ्यं भगवते पुरुषाय महात्मने भूतावासाय भूताय पराय परमात्मने ज्ञानविज्ञाननिधये ब्रह्मणेऽनन्तशक्तये अगुणाय विकाराय नमस्ते प्राकृताय च कालाय कालनाभाय कालावयवसाक्षिणे विश्वाय तदुपद्रष्ट्रे तत्कर्त्रे विश्वहेतवे भूतमातेन्द्रियप्राण मनोबुद्ध्याशयात्मने त्रिगुणेनाभिमानेन गूढस्वात्मानुभूतये नमोऽनन्ताय सूक्ष्माय कूटस्थाय विपश्चिते नानावादानुरोधाय वाच्यवाचकशक्तये नमः प्रमाणमूलाय कवये शास्त्रयोनवे प्रवृत्ताय निवृत्ताय नमः कृष्णाय रामाय वसुदेवसुताय च प्रद्युम्नाय निरुद्धाय सात्वतां पतये नमः नमो गुणप्रदीपाय गुणात्मच्छादनाय च गुणवृत्त्योपलक्ष्याय गुणद्रष्ट्रे स्वसंविदे विहाराय सर्वव्याकृतसिद्धये ऋषिकेश नमस्तेस्तु मुनये मौनषि परावरगतिज्ञाय
सर्वाध्यक्षाय ते नमः अविश्वाय च विश्वाय तद्द्रष्ट्रेस्य च हेतवे त्वं यस्य जन्म स्थिति संयमान् विभो गुणैरनीहो कृतकालशक्तिधृक् तत्तत् स्वभावान् प्रतिबोधयन् सता समीक्षयामो गविहार ईहसे तस्यैव शान्ता प्रियास्ते युदुनावितुं सतां स्थातुश्च ते धर्मपरीप्सये अपराधसकृद्भर्त्रा ओढव्यस्वप्रजाकृता क्षक्तुम् अर्हसि शान्तात्मन् मूढस्य त्वामजानत अनुगृहीष्व भगवन् प्राणां त्यजति पन्नगा स्त्रीणां न साधु शोच्यानां पति प्राण प्रदीयताम्. And finally, विधेहि ते किङ्करीणाम् अनुष्ठेयं तवाज्ञया यच्छ्रद्धयानुतिष्ठन् वै मुच्यते सर्वतो भयात्.
As the Nagapatnis chanted, Krishna's heart melted. He smiled at them, he smiled at Kāliya, and he got off the hoods. Kāliya looked at Krishna, and with folded palms. Now we may think, how does a snake fold his palms? The point is, when we say Nagapatnis, or we say Naga, they are personalities like us, even Nagapatnis. Please don't think of them as mermaids with human face on the top and snake bodies beneath. They are complete women. They are transcendental personalities who can also become snakes, just like the Rakshasa became Aghasur. So they can become snakes. But it's not that they have to be like mermaids with a fish tail and a face of a Mataji. Not like that. So they all fold their palms, and Kāliya also in his original personality folded his palms. And he offered prayers. He said, my dear Lord, we are born in the snake family, so naturally we are very envious. We are angry and always hissing horribly. Krishna, please forgive us. You made us like that, but we can't blame you. We are in the snake species because of our own karma. Please forgive all my offenses. Now I realize what my wife said, that you are the most merciful Supreme Lord. Krishna, please forgive all my offenses. I have hurt the Brajbasis. I have caused poison to spread around the trees and animals and birds. I promise you I will never do that again. Krishna blessed Kāliya with eternal love of God. On one condition. You should not live in the Yamuna anymore. With the lesson that we get, Krishna forgives and forgives and forgives our offenses. But when we cross our threshold, He will take us away from the association of devotees. Because we are hurting the devotees in their presence. So He had the opportunity to live in the Yamuna, opportunity to live in Vrindavan. Krishna forgave those offenses. But He said, because you've polluted this place, you have to leave. You have to relocate. He said, where should I go, my Lord? You should go back to the Ramanak Islands where you came from. The Acharyas, our Kavi Karnapur, he plays with the word Ramanaka, saying that Kāliya told Krishna, my dear Lord, Vrindavan is Ramanaka. Why? Because Radha Raman lives here. Ramanam karoti iti Ramanaka. You are Ramanaka. You frolic here. So if you tell me to go to Ramanaka, which means I should stay here. It's almost like Saraswati Devi sitting on the tongue and bringing in poetic, linguistic jokes. But then before he left, he told Krishna, I want to offer you some gifts. Priti Lakshanam. You have offered me devotional service along with my wives and my children. He had so many children. The Nagapatnis, when they offered prayers, they kept all their children in front of Krishna and said, please don't kill our husbands. If you want to kill him on his own accord, look at us, we are performing bhakti. If you still feel like killing him, look at these children, they'll lose a father. The Nagapatni said this to Krishna with prayers. The Acharya is right. They put their kids ahead and they with tears prayed with folded palms, and Krishna forgave all of them. And now all those kids and all the Matajis and Kāliya's wives and followers and Kāliya put together, they started offering gifts to Krishna in the final part of this pastime before he leaves Vrindavan. Divyasra gandha vastradya Divyabharana bhushita Mahamani gana kirna Vraja jivana darshana. What did they offer Krishna? Divya srag. What does srag mean? Flowers and flower garlands. Kāliya, it's so interesting. When he was begging forgiveness and now it's time to offer gifts, it is described, he swam in the same Yamuna and went around collecting lotus flowers. Can you imagine that scene where Kāliya swims in the Yamuna to collect lotus flowers, and he collected one after another with all his 1,000 hoods. And those same hoods which were spitting poison now were collecting lotus flowers, and very quickly transcendental garlands with fully blossomed fragrant lotus flowers from the Yamuna were strung and offered to Krishna. What does this teach us? This teaches us, in whatever circumstance we are in, serve Krishna from that pond. If you are Kāliya, serve Krishna from the lotuses that are available in that pond, in that circumstance. If you are Gajendra stuck in another pond, offer the lotus from that pond. You don't have to go into the forest to collect a lotus, which means you don't have to change circumstance. Sthane sthita shruti gatan tanuvak manobhi. Be where you are and serve Krishna from that pond, and Krishna will be pleased. Divya, Srag and Gandha, they also offered scents. They also offered very fragrant aromatic scents and whistles. And Vastra, they offered, according to our acharyas, silken robes. They offered Krishna newer dhoti. And as described, Kāliya himself came and offered that dhoti around Krishna's waist. And Divya Abharana Bhushita, they offered necklaces, they offered pearls, they offered rubies and emeralds, and they offered something which Krishna holds with him for all times to come. Sri Rupa Goswami writes in his commentary that Kāliya, along with Nagapatnis, offered Krishna the Kāustubhamani. Kaustubhakhya maniryena pravishya ridamauragam Kāliya preyasi vrinda hastair atmopaharita. Sri Rupa Goswami Pad writes, Pravishya Ridam Auragam. Auragam means Uraga, snake. The snakes entered deep into the oysters of the bed of Yamuna and opened it and got the Kaustuba pearl. Kaustuba Akhya Manir, and Kāliya gave it to the wives. And Kāliya wives, Nagapatni, which is Kāliya Preyasi Vrinda, the group of his wives, they with their own hand put it around the chest of Gopal, Krishna. The Brajbasis are looking. Krishna went in to a poison pit and came out with most jewels and nectar possible. Now somebody may say, isn't Kāustubhamani Krishna's eternal ornament? How did that come to the Kāliya and Nagapatnis. It is described Krishna was born with Kaustubhamani in Vrindavan. When Mother Yashoda gave birth to Krishna, Krishna was born with a Kaustubhamani. Yogamaya Shakti immediately removed that Kaustubhamani and threw it into the Yamuna. Why? Because if Mother Yashoda looks Kaustubhamani around the chest of her Gopal, what will she do? Sahasra Shirasha Purushaha Sahasrakya Sahasrapad. She will offer prayers to Gopal and touch his feet. And Gopal will say, what is this? Whether Vaikuntha or Vrindavan, same treatment. So Yoga Maya Shakti took that Kaustubhamani and threw it into the Yamuna, and it came down to the oysters, the bed of Yamuna. And because Kāliya was the king, it was in his treasury. And now he took it and offered it back to Krishna. So now Krishna can walk with the Kaustubhamani, and the Brajbasis still don't believe he's Vishnu because they saw it being gifted by Kāliya's family. How amazing. How beautiful. Kasturi tilakam lalata patale vakshasthale kaustubham. Aha. Linking back to the Kāliya pastime. When Rupa Goswami has written this, the older brother Srila Sanatan Goswami must have also written something. And Srila Sanatan Goswami Pad offers obeisances. Namaste Swiya Dukkhagna Sarpa Krida Visharada Kāliyahi Phanaranga Nata Kāliya Mardana. This is a prayer we can memorize as offering obeisances to that Krishna. Which Krishna? Swiya Dukkha Gna, who took away the suffering in the life of the Brajbasis. Yes, everyone please take a picture. It's a nice verse. This is the essence of the whole Leela. Namaste, we offer obeisances to whom? That Krishna. Swiya means his own. Dukkha Gna. He destroyed the suffering, the poison suffering in the life of his own devotees in Braj. Then what did he do? Sarpa Krida Visharada. He flaunted his dancing on the hoods of Kāliya. Visharada. Visharada means expert. And Kāliya Ahi. Ahi means serpent. Phana means hoods. Ranga means stage. Nata means dance. And by dancing on the stage of the hoods of the serpent called Kāliya, Kāliya Mardana, he destroyed his pride. What a beautiful verse. The whole chapter in one Anushtup Chanda. Srila Sanatan Goswami's brilliance. When Rup Goswami Pad has written, when Sanatan Goswami Pad has written, Srila Jiva Goswami Pad may also have written something, same family. Eager? What to speak of Srila Jiva Goswami? Let's see verse written by Srila Jiva Goswami's disciple. Srila Jiva Goswami's Diksha disciple wrote this verse on Kāliya Mardan. Pranapaharam hari apriyadvisham Makhapaharam cha balat shachipate Sthanapaharam phaninas chakarayan Tenaiva tesham vihitam sumangalam. This disciple of Srila Jiva Goswami wrote this verse and kept it anonymous. Didn't take any credit. So it comes down generation as being written by Kopi, some disciple of Jiva. And what does he write? Krishna, my dear Lord, you are so sumangalam, you are so auspicious. We in this world, in our generation or this world, we can't even do the best for someone while they're alive, while they're in our presence. But Krishna can do good to someone by even externally, quote unquote, doing inauspicious things. Like, pranapaharam harir apriyaddusham. Krishna can take the life of the asuras and give them paramam gatim. We can't give auspiciousness to someone who's alive in front of us. And Krishna can kill someone and give them mukti. What auspiciousness is that? tathaiva chanye naraloka veera ya ahave krishna mukharavindam netre pibantyo nayanabhirama parthastra puta padamapurasya. Krishna's associates can shoot arrows, like Arjuna can shoot arrows. And when the arrow touches the chest of the enemy, it sucks in all their sins and sends them back home, back to Godhead. If the arrow of Arjuna has this power, can you imagine the chakra of Krishna? Can you imagine the embrace of Krishna? Krishna can kill Putana, who came to kill him, and make her his eternal mother. So, pranapaharam harir apriyadusha, my dear Lord, you can kill someone and give them liberation. Second, makhapaharam cha balat shachipate, you can destroy a fire sacrifice of Indra, Govardhan Leela, and bring supreme well-being to Indra. Generally, when you destroy a fire sacrifice, it's not auspicious. You destroy somebody's life, it's not auspicious. But Krishna can destroy the fire sacrifice of Indra Puja and bring in auspiciousness as Giridhari Gopal Shyam in the life of Indra. And third line says, Sthanapaharam, by kicking Kāliya out of his own habitat. Phanina means the snake. By ousting, by exiling, by banishing Kāliya of his own house, you got the most supreme auspiciousness to his life. My dear Lord, therefore the disciple writes, therefore I conclude, even reversals in my life are the supreme auspicious hand of your divine grace. If you can remove someone from their home, if you can destroy their fire sacrifice, even kill them and bring auspiciousness, any reversal in our life is only Krishna's mercy. And therefore, to conclude, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur composes a verse and he prays. Let us chant this verse together. Netrarbudasyaiva bhavantu karna nasarasajñā hridayarbudam va saundarya sausvarya sugandha pura madhurya samslesha rasanubhutyai. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, my dear Lord, each pastime of yours is so deep that netra arbudasya, may I have millions of eyes to see one pastime. Imagine having millions of eyes just to see Kāliya Leela. You're seeing the dance from all sides. Netra arbudasya, my dear Lord, may I have millions of eyes to see one pastime. Bhavantu karna, may I have millions of ears to hear the narration of one pastime. Then, may I have millions of nose to smell the fragrance of your lotus feet in this one pastime. Rasajñā, may I have millions of tongues to describe one pastime. And Hridaya, may I have millions of hearts to embrace your lotus feet in one pastime. Krishna, this is my only aspiration. Through my eyes may I see your saundarya, third line. Through my ears may I hear your sausvarya, your voice. Through my nose may I smell your sugandha, your fragrance. Similarly, through my tongue may I taste your madhurya, sweetness. And through my heart may I experience samslesha, your embrace. My dear Lord, this is my only aspiration. This will happen by hearing Harikatha repeatedly on and on for as many years as we can. And Srila Prabhupada confirms that in this purport. Srila Prabhupada writes, as a devotee hears more and more about the Supreme Lord, he becomes enlightened. This hearing process is recommended in the Srimad Bhagavatam as follows. The messages of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are full of potencies, and these potencies can be realized if topics regarding Krishna, the Supreme God, are discussed amongst devotees in Rasa-Cintāmaṇi. Let us offer one last prayer from our end, offering it to Krishna. Let us pray to Krishna that, oh my dear Lord, evam bhaktan mukta jivan apitvam
मुग्धापाङ्गैरस्तरोगं तनोषि तादृग्भूतस्पीतकारुण्यभूमा रोगात् पाया वायुगेहाधिनाथ
The prayer is, my dear Lord, and this is a prayer exclusively for the Kāliya Daman meditation. My dear Lord, evam, in this pastime you showed us, bhaktan mukta jivan apitvam, even if devotees fall unconscious forgetting you, you mugdha pangaihi, you'll walk to them like he did to the cows and the gopas, and with your loving glance, mugdha apangaihi astarogam, you'll remove their sleep. We pray, my dear Lord, we are sleeping in this world. May you glance at us and remove our sleep, and at the same time, may you dance on our heads and kick the Kāliya of envy out of the Yamuna of our hearts. Rogat Paya, my dear Lord, just like you kicked Kāliya out of the Yamuna, please kick the snake Roga, not the English Roga, Rog. In Sanskrit, the rog means disease. Please kick the rog, the disease of envy, from the Yamuna of my heart. My dear Lord, wake us up, dance on us, use us in your service, and please purify us while we continue to live in the Yamuna of the association of devotees. Thank you very much.